Hi, everyone. Father Kevin with you from St. Patrick's this weekend. In what's a kind of a difficult gospel as Jesus talks about the weeds among the wheat in this parable about the good and the bad and what to do about that or how to look at it. So let me take a stab at all of that. One of the worrisome trends that has been very evident throughout the pandemic and also too in our struggle with this issue of racial injustice is trying to identify or call out who are the good guys and who are the bad guys. The good guys and girls are those who are moved to action by the suffering of others, those who will put their lives on line to tend to those who are in need. They are those who risk things, who are the essential workers. There are people who are concerned about the poor, who lack all the means we do for healthcare and therefore are the highest risk groups. It's really caring what happens in the long run to everybody, not just the United States, but the world. And the bad guys, those who are trying to exploit this situation for political or financial gain, those who will deny the need to cooperate with the protocols of safety over some false argument of individual rights over the protection of one's neighbor. They are those who seem to just not care. They want life just to go on the way it's gone on and don't really care what else other people are suffering. Well, whatever is the case, I think we know that this division between the good and the bad serves absolutely no purpose. It doesn't help. It divides us rather than unites us in working through the great issues of this pandemic and also the issues of racism and justice, which are also playing big in our country in the background. So Jesus, in the gospel of the parable of the weeds in the wheat, talks about the fact that when God sowed our humanity, it was all good. We go back to the creation story, that's the case. But then over time, the presence of evil, and there is evil in the world, some of that wheat, if you will, becomes weeds. It's transformed by the presence of evil. And so the workers in the field say to the landowner, well, let's just pull those weeds out. Let's get rid of them. And the landowner says, well, no, if you do that, you're going to pull up the wheat too. But the broader picture of what's going on here is that when Jesus looked at our humanity, he didn't see us as good and bad. He saw actually the goodness of all people. Were there bad people? Yes. There were people that he certainly railed against who were unjust, who did things to cheat people, those who used religion as a weapon of intimidation against people and denied them the compassion of God for control, and so on and so on. But what Jesus really did when he looked at all of us, and we see this in his treatment of tax collectors and public sinners, he makes them his friends. Because what he's saying is that they may be seen as the weeds in the wheat of the fields of the world, but they can be transformed to the wheat. And in fact, at one time they were the wheat, but life or the circumstances that they found themselves in, the mistakes that they made, transformed them into something that was not desirable. As is the case with a lot of us who are the wheat. There's been times in our life where we've been weeds. But because of Jesus and the redemption that he brings to us in saving, we're transformed to the weeds, but to the wheat rather. And so The reason why Jesus says the landowner says, leave everything till the end, to the harvest, to the end time, for God to sort out who was good and who was bad. Because the opportunity for those who are not so great is always there to be transformed. The other part of it is that, as good people, as the wheat, we are there to witness to our values, to the care and compassion of others, especially during a pandemic, to inspire others who are on the other side of things that may not necessarily be good to change. And so in that sense, by taking a whole different look at the humanity around us, rather seeing other people as the enemy, our task is through our goodness to bring them into where we are so that together we can solve things like pandemics and issues of racism or injustice or problems in our families or our friendships, not to make enemies of others, but to see others as a part of what we're doing to achieve goodness here on earth, the kingdom that Jesus wants established here. So something to consider in what was really a very complicated gospel for me, but one that I hope helps us to understand that as we work together in solving the problems of the world, in solving the pandemic, the only way we do it is to not have these distinctions between some being good and some being bad. It's not only a waste of time, it really doesn't help us to achieve the end we need, which only unity will provide. Again, something to think about. Take care.